Let's talk now to Liam Collins, who's a retired US Special Forces colonel. Good to see you again, Colonel Collins. Welcome back to the programme. So as our correspondent was reporting there, we have seen some small raids by Israel into Gaza. Does this look like the start of a new phase?
Yeah, I mean, when they're ready for it, I mean, I think what you've seen is, right, the mobilization of the reserves. It takes time for them. They have a war plan that's on the shelf, but they really have to refine that for the specific operation based on specific intelligence. So that's what they're doing right now, preparing for that ground invasion into the Gaza, which could happen any day now.
There's been lots of talk about this full-scale ground offensive by Israel, seemingly delayed, though. Why do you think that is? Is it down to the United States calling for a delay so they can try and get the hostages held by Hamas out safely?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, that's factoring into this. I mean, one is the Israelis want to be better prepared for it, but part of it is, right, these dozens of hostages, many of them that aren't just Israeli, but they're dual citizens or foreigners, that they're being held, and obviously they're going to be put at graver risk with any kind of ground invasion, depending on what kind of rules they've given to the for their people that are holding the hostages. So that's most likely one of the other delays. And Israel, right, it was delayed from the onset because they're trying to move civilians out of the combat zone, right, as they're trying to displace them to the south to minimize those civilian casualties, to try to clear it. So that also was caused the delay, but I think that's not really the explanation at this point.
So you said you thought that it could start a ground operation within days. Is a ground operation now inevitable?
I would think so. I mean, if you look in 2009 and 2014, based off of significantly smaller attacks or justifications into Israel, they launched ground invasions into Gaza that took 14 and 19 days. If you really want to degrade, they say defeat Hamas capability. They're not going to be able to do that, but really degrade Hamas capability so that they aren't able to conduct a large attack like this again, where they killed, hundreds or thousands of, Israeli and foreign citizens that were civilians. That almost never can be done by air alone without really, really good intelligence. And so that almost, to do that, requires a ground invasion to go out there and hit the logistic points, hit the leadership, and eliminate those.
And do you think that is actually possible? Can Hamas be dismantled in a ground offensive?
They can be degraded. They can't be destroyed, right? As long as, the underlying, roots of the conflict aren't being addressed, there's going to be, some kind of resistance. But what Israel wants to do is degrade it to such a level that they're not capable of conducting a large cross-border raid like they conducted a couple weeks ago. So that's really what their goal is, and that they are capable of doing that.
Colonel Collins, good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us today. That's Liam Collins, retired US Special Forces colonel.